This session is being recorded. So this is Rob from Campus Contact. And today we're going to cover, actually in this class session, we're going to cover the high-level overview of where everything is in Campus Contact and how to access it and just kind of the basics of what it is. And then we're going to have our more in-depth class at 4 o'clock today where we're going to dive in and add some pages and some widgets and modules and do all kind of really cool, bit more advanced content management stuff. So this morning's session is just about the overall where everything is and how to get to stuff. So that's what we're going to dive into. I'm not going to have a chance to cover everything in the system, of course, and so you're going to want to make sure that you take a few minutes on occasion as you need it to go to campuscontact.com and click on our support link over here at the top. And that's where you're going to find a lot of information far beyond anything I can show you today. So on the left-hand side, if you scroll down, you'll find our knowledge base, which is going to show you a lot of information about the system. Anything and everything you'd ever want to know is in here. There's a tremendous amount of documentation. So come over here and click on the knowledge base, and you'll find lots of stuff in there. You can also just contact us, click on this, and ask us some questions for whatever you need. If needed, we can do a remote support to your desktop so we can see exactly what's going on your end. If you feel like you're seeing something kind of funky or wonky going on, we can actually see what's happening right there on your end. Or last, of course, if you can't get a hold of us for any reason, or maybe it's after hours, you can click to submit a trouble ticket. And where's my trouble ticket desk? Well, I say that. Okay, there it is. It's loading kind of slowly, but there is a trouble ticket desk there. There it is. Okay, so you can submit a trouble ticket to us as well if you need help. Or if you just want to get a hold of us immediately during the day, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Central Time, Monday through Friday, click the little speech bubble thing on the bottom left, the little chat bubble there, and get a hold of us that way. And our folks are standing by ready to help you out at any time. So lots of ways to get a hold of us. Oh, and down below, we actually added this last week. And these are video links to training classes. So this shows you all of the training classes that I've done. And you can come back in here and watch any of these at any time on your own. I'm working on a collection of specific widget and module training classes, and I'll be posting those here as well. And for those of you who are using our teacher websites, there's training on how to use the teacher sites as well. So there's lots of documentation and videos and all kinds of stuff in here. So make sure you come back and check out some of the videos. This class will be posted there as well under the full training classes. So let's dive right in. On your new websites, there's no longer a link at the bottom of your sites that takes you to a login. We kind of hid that link because the kids used to just bang on it all the time, and it just created a lot of false attempts to log in. So it's totally gone now. Now to log into your website, you need to remember that if you're going to be making admin changes to your website, you have to go to admin.campuscontact.com. That's where you're going to have to go to manage your website. So remember that, admin.campuscontact.com. There is no link to it from your website, and we don't really want to put a link to it from your website. We kind of want to keep it out of sight and out of mind, away from the kids. So admin.campuscontact.com is where you'll go to log in to your new website. If you have not received your welcome email yet, just click on the forgot password and enter your email address if you're already in the system, and it'll send you a link so that you can reset your password. So if you don't know what your password is, you can use that and it'll email it to you. We don't know what your passwords are. We don't see them. We don't know them. We don't even put them in for you. So we're out of the mix as far as passwords from a security standpoint. So that's all. You guys just click the forgot password if you don't have it and add your email address. In my case, I'm going to go ahead and log in. Well, let's just jump right in here. Demo and you do have to spell it, right? And log right in. And as soon as you enter your email and password correctly, it will log you in and take you to your dashboard. And this is where you'll see all of the websites that you are able to manage. So if you're a district administrator and you manage lots of websites, you'll see them all in here. If you're just a single school administrator, or maybe just a single school district even, You'll see your single school over here on the left-hand side, a little thumbnail, which we can click on to jump right into edit it. But before I do that, we're going to look at some of the other stuff over here. It shows the date that it was created as well as the date that it was last published. That's something a lot of folks were asking for a long time, is when was the last time somebody updated this website? So this was updated on September 25th. So that was probably my last training class. So it's nice to see that. Over to the right, you can click on edit, or like I said, you can just click on the thumbnail to go into edit mode. They both do the same thing. Before we do that, we're going to click on the preview option. And this is kind of nice. It shows you a little preview. You can see how the site's looking on the different devices, and just to see how it's looking for other people. Like I can see this particular design is looking great on desktop, tablets, and mobile. So it's working just fine. So a little preview is kind of nice to have. To the right of that is a stats icon. And if you click that, you'll see we basically have Google Analytics built right into your website. So you don't really need Google Analytics anymore. If you like Analytics, the Google version, you can use that still, and I'll show you where we can embed that URL or that little link that they give you to do that. But you don't really need it anymore because we have that built right into the website now. Now this being a training site, there's not a whole lot of content for you to see, but at least you can kind of get a feel for some of the stuff we have built into it. And of course, you can do this you can see the data for yesterday, any weeks or months, or any specific time frame that you want to set it for. So it's a full-blown analytic resource for you for anything you might need. So a lot of information in here. I'm going to close this out and go back to my sites here. Just click on sites at the top. It takes you back to your list of sites. Also at the far right at the top is your email address and a little person icon. This is going to be really, really important for you guys. This is where you sign out of the system. It does not log you out anymore like it used to after an hour or 3 hours, whatever the time was. We had a lot of complaints about that. People were making content changes, and it would log them out and they would lose some changes. So that no longer happens anymore, and it no longer logs you out anymore. So this is on you guys to make sure that you come in and manually log yourself out of your website. If you don't do that, and you're in a classroom and some kid comes behind you and starts making changes on your website that's maybe not appropriate, that's going to be on you. And of course, everything is logged and monitored and tracked. So it would be unfortunate for that to happen. So we want to avoid that by you going back to your dashboard, mouse over your name or your email at the top right, and click sign out so that you log yourself out. That's going to be extremely important. There's a lot of responsibility being put on you as a website manager. One of those responsibilities is security. So of course you need to come back in and log yourself out of the website. That's going to be really, really important. A little further down here on the bottom, on this row over here, the far right, a little hamburger icon. You mouse over that, you'll see we can manage blog posts. We can manage our store. And yes, there is a full-blown e-commerce school store here for you now, as well as all form responses. So in the past, all of your forms, if you wanted to go see the results of various form submissions, you had to go to all the different pages and places where your forms were, and you had to go find them all. Now they're all in one location. Everything's aggregated into one place. We don't have any submitted on this sample website. I should have done that. But if we did, they would all be right here in one single location. So it's nice to have everything in one place, and you can see all of your different form responses all grouped. And of course, you can export them in CSV or Excel format and do with them as you please. But so this is your dashboard, and this is everything you need in here. One more thing I didn't mention is your help link back at the top right there. That just takes you back to our knowledge base area where you can find a lot of information about the website. So lots of places that we can find help in your site. So let's jump into the website. Again, we can click on the thumbnail image on the left, or we can click on edit at the right. It doesn't really matter. They take you to the same place. And my internet is painfully slow today. Come on, come on, come on, come on. It won't be this slow for you guys, I promise. It's extremely fast. And boy, this is just taking a while. Wow. Okay. So my page is finally loaded, and like I said, I promise it's not that slow for you guys. I am on a horrible Comcast Wi-Fi connection today, and boy, it's gonna be a challenge. So along the top, you can tell we're logged in because along the top we have this little black bar, and we're going to cover all of those icons as well as some of these icons down the left-hand side that you'll have access to as well. So looking at the top, the very first thing we have is a little drop-down that will show you your pages in your website. And it's kind of just a quick jump to, and you can jump to various pages. I'm not sure why all of these other pages aren't showing. This is a template I applied about 2 minutes ago, so I'm not sure what's going on. But normally you can use that to jump to any page, or of course you can access any page in their site by just clicking on it in the navigation and jumping right over to it. So multiple ways to access the pages. Also, across the top, you'll see that you can view your website in desktop mode, which is what we're in now, or in tablet mode. Goodness, this is slow. Or in mobile mode, so you can see it in the different devices. And I am gonna just flip through it real quick. So there we go. So we can see that it's actually in the different modes, and it just allows you to edit it for the different devices. So if you see that one thing's not lining up quite right in mobile mode, you can come over here and fix it, and it doesn't affect the others. So it's just kind of nice to be able to see and manage the specific views of your websites. So that's kind of neat. A little further over on the right-hand side, we have a search option, and this is a new feature being tweaked a little bit, and we should see some updates to that today. But it basically just a quick access for any kind of help you need. So like if you want to just type in anything, there we go. So if you want to just type in whatever you want, you can see it'll show you a lot of help and support information. You can click on it and it tells you a lot of information. So there's a lot of help built into the website, and this is one of the things that our old system lacked that our new system has an abundance of, which is support for just about anything and everything that you do. So every widget now has detailed documentation, screenshots, and help along the way, as well as most functions within the website. So just type whatever you want to add to it, and or whatever you want to do, and there's going to be documentation to help you out along the way. So lots and lots of help information by clicking that little search editor at the top there, that little magnifying glass. To the right of that, we've got some info and tools, and this tells us a little bit about your website. For example, we can see that the URL of this particular site is training.campuscontact.com, and you will have the ability to change that URL to whatever you want it to be. So if you want it to be your district's URL, like something.k12.ga.us or some long thing, or if you wanted it to be georgecountyschools.org or whatever your domain is, it can be literally anything you want it to be. So it doesn't have to be one of our campuscontact.com domains. I can also see below there that the site is published, so you can turn your websites on or off. And it just is good to know that it's published so that the rest of the world is seeing it. Some of you may have your websites not published right now because they're just not live and you're not out there yet. So you'll just see that by clicking on that little eye. On the left-hand side of that little pop-up, we've got preview links. So this is a neat little tool that allows you to share with others how your site looks before you make it go live. So I can make a bunch of changes on this site, make all kinds, add some new content and pages and pictures and whatnot, and then I can share it with somebody to say, hey, what do you think about this before it goes live? So I could copy the desktop link, and they could come over here and paste it and see how the site looks before it actually goes live and give you some feedback. So if you need approval before you add something to the site, you can do that. Share that preview link either in mobile or desktop or both. You can do all. And that just allows other people to see your website before you actually go live with it. So it's a nice little tool. Below that, we've got another link to your stats. It lets you just jump in so you can see the same stats that we saw from your dashboard. This is your built-in Google Analytics functions right here. Of course, if you click Open Stats, it will take you back to the stats page where we just were a minute ago. And, well, you get the idea. Mine's loading painfully slow. Now, we also have an option for the editor itself. This is the ability to change the editor language, not the website language that the general public is going to be seeing, because we have Google Analytics, we have Google Translate for that function. But if you're more comfortable working in Spanish or German or Portuguese, whatever language you want to work in, you can actually change the language of the editor while you're logged in so that it's whatever language you prefer to work in. That's a nice tool. To the right of that is a little check mark, and you'll see this little check mark up here change from a check mark to 3 little dots. And that's because it's actually auto-saving everything. So as you make a change, it will automatically save that change. No more page refreshing and page reloading all the time. Everything is done right here in the website, and nothing ever has to reload or do anything. It's auto-saved immediately, so if you make a change and you lose power, don't worry about it. If you didn't hit update, because there is no update, there is no save button anymore. It's all automatically saved and updated. So it's nice to know that's all done. Now, keep in mind there's a huge difference between auto-saved and auto-published. So it doesn't mean that the world's going to get to see those changes, even though they are saved, and we'll talk about that in just a second. To the right of the little notification here, this check mark, is the undo and redo options. So any changes you make, you can undo those changes or redo those changes as you need. You can go back about 100 steps, which is just incredible. We tested this a while back. We went to 100 steps back and just kind of stopped counting at that point because it's more than most people will ever need. But just know that you can go back and undo a tremendous amount of steps backwards. If you go too far backwards, you can go forward some additional steps and kind of redo those changes. So it's nice. You also have the option to do a preview of your website, which is going to come in really handy as you're working on different things, because there's a big difference between the edit mode and the preview mode. And that in edit mode, which is where I am now, if I try to click on, I want to test the link, let's say, of my logo at the top left. If I click on it, it thinks I want to change something. And that's how we're going to edit things and move things around. However, if I go into preview mode and try to click it, it actually does the function that we want it to. So if you're testing links, for example, or you're doing, I don't know, you want to test some buttons or whatever it is that you added to your site, you're going to want to do that in preview mode instead of edit mode, because again, if you click it in edit mode, it thinks you want to do something to that piece of content, which you don't want to do. You want to just test it, go back and forth. So that's a nice piece to do there. To the right of that is probably the single most important button in the new system, and that is the republish function. And again, if your site's not published for the first time, you won't see this yet, so don't worry, we have to turn that on for you. But as I mentioned earlier, everything is auto-saved, but it's not automatically published, meaning it's not automatically pushed to the world to save or to see. So you can make a lot of changes in here, and you can add lots of things to the site, and you can do all kinds of stuff, pages and pictures and content of all kinds. But until you hit the republish button, nobody's going to get to see that change that you made to your site. So it's very likely that you could be one of the folks, we've had quite a few already, who have called us and said, I've added all kind of stuff to my site, I logged out, and it's gone. I lost it. No, you didn't lose it. It's just that you didn't push it live by hitting the republish button. And so now you're live looking at the outside, and it's not there because you didn't publish it to the world. So you have to make sure that you hit this republish button, or your content will not be seen by anybody else. This gives you a chance to make all the mistakes, do all the work you want on the inside, and nobody has to see all those changes that you're making until you're ready, in which case you then hit the republish button and you're good to go. To the right of that is our help button again. Lots of different places we've got help. So that just takes you back to the knowledge base where you can get that information that you need. To the right of that is back to your dashboard, and that's where we started, where we can access other sites if you need to, or where you'll go to log out by mousing over at the very top right, your email address, and then clicking log out. So you'll need, or sign out, sorry. You'll need to make sure that you do that when you're working on your website. I'm going to jump back in edit mode here and go back to the site. I apologize for the delays here. Not sure why it's going so incredibly slow today. Wow. This is crazy. Not sure what else I can do to speed things up either. So we'll just kind of limp along here. So that's all the stuff along the top of your website. So the big stuff that you're going to be doing for the most part is going to be down the left-hand side of your website. And we have all these options here from design down to settings. And while you're an administrator and you do have access to everything, I want to pay special note to the design button at the top left. And that is an area that I do not want you to change. We do not ever want you going in there poking around in the design area. That's done by us, our design folks, and that's where we make design changes globally to your site that affect things like fonts and font sizes and styles and colors and mouse over effects and buttons and backgrounds and lots of other things. And yes, you can absolutely get in there and make a mess of things, but we can restore it by using the site restore option. And if we do, it's going to undo some changes that you've made possibly. So I would really recommend that you do not ever poke around in the design area. You don't really need to. We've done it all for you. Yeah, it's there, and if you're curious, you can go look at it. But you don't really need to, and you can mess some stuff up. So really kind of stay out of there. That's an area for us and not really an area for you to go mess with. The rest of the stuff you have access to, and I certainly encourage you to come in here and play around and all the other stuff. Just leave the design option alone. Enough of that. Let's talk about pages. So we click on the Pages tab. This is where your new page manager is, and this allows you to manage and create new pages, rearrange your pages, your page settings, hide pages, display pages, whatever you need to do is all done under the Pages tab. So when you click on it, this pop-out shows you all of your pages, and you can drag and drop your pages to whatever order you want. Just real quick and easy, shuffle them around as you see fit. If you want to create child pages, so you want to put a page under another page, you can do that by simply dragging it to the right of any page, and now it's under that particular page. So maybe a better example would be, let's put parents under home. So if we look on the right side of our menu now, parents is out by itself. Maybe we want to put that under home. We'll just drag it up here to the top, drag it to the right a little bit, and you'll see now it's dropped down underneath home. It's gone from the menu, and if I mouse over home, of course I see it there now. So it's really, really easy to rearrange your pages in whatever you want, whatever order you want. If you want to bring it back out as a top level page, just drag it out to the left, and you'll see now it's a top level page again. And shuffling pages around is literally just as easy as just dragging them around and putting them in whatever order you want them in. So it's very, very simple. Now to the right of every page is a little icon. And this little gear icon allows you to manage lots of stuff about that page. For example, we can rename any page. If we click on it, we have the option to rename a page. We can hide pages in your navigation. And that's a really common feature, to hide pages in your navigation, because not everything has to be in the navigation. But you can turn things on, turn things off in the navigation as you see fit. So for example, right now, schools for some reason is hidden. We can unhide that by clicking show in all. And now we'll see that it now appears in our navigation at the top. And nope, there's our schools drop down now showing at the top. So if you want to turn it back off, you just click on that little gear, say hide in navigation. And you can hide it on all devices, or you can hide things on just any specific device. Maybe you just want to hide it on desktop or tablet or mobile. And you'll see actually that we have some things in this particular site hidden from desktop and mobile. I'm sorry, desktop and tablet, but it appears on mobile. And so it's nice that we can show or hide things based on specific devices. Also, under this little gear option, we have the ability to duplicate. So if you want to recreate a page, you can do that. Click the duplicate button, and it will create it exactly as it is. So it'll be the same page name, same page content, picture, files, links, whatever you've got on it. You can recreate any page by clicking the duplicate function. Below that, we've got SEO, and we've got a lot of SEO functions in here. If we click on that, there we are. Lots of SEO options. The first one at the top allows you to block a page from being crawled. And that comes in handy if you, let's say we have a secure page where you've got a bunch of links that you maybe want just for parents or just for teachers or something secure kind of area of your site that you don't want the rest of the world to see. Well, then you don't want the search engines to crawl it either, and for that to be displayed on, on Google. So instead, you would just turn it off. You can hide a page from being crawled. Below that, we can add a page title and a page description. And this comes in really handy, especially on your home page. In this case, we're at George County Schools. Your title should be George County Schools or welcome to or whatever, something like that, so that you have some kind of title on your page, especially your home page. And your page description can be the same thing, or you can just leave it as George County Schools or whatever it is you want to be found as in the search engine. So it's really important that you do this, at least for the home page. You don't have to go to every page, although it is recommended and encouraged, but you don't have to. Below that is the page keywords. That's no longer even relevant for most search engines, so you don't have to worry about that. Page keywords aren't even looked at anymore by Google or Amazon, or I'm sorry, by Yahoo or any other search engine. So don't even bother with page keywords unless you just really want to do that. Below that, we have the option to set a password for a page, so we can have secured pages that are password protected, that people would have to know the password to access that, or maybe a group of pages. So now you might have an area for parents or students or teachers or whatever, and you can create a password for that, manage that here as well. Down at the very bottom of your page settings, you can add HTML to your header if you need to, and this is really rare, but it comes in handy for things like if you're using Google Analytics for the first time, they have to have you verify website ownership. So Google will give you a little code, a little snippet that says, put this code in your website. Well, this is where you would do that. On the homepage of your website, you would paste the little code that they give you, go back to Google and say, verify my site, and they'll see that you now put it in there, and that confirms that you do indeed own the site and have access to it. So otherwise, it's not generally used, but there are some other kind of goofy things you can do with the header HTML. So those are all the things under your page settings that you can access by just clicking on the little gear and access any of the pages. Now, another thing you can see on your pages, is at the far left of the button, you can see a little icon. For example, the home button has a little house. This one has a little caret, little down icon that shows me that there's more pages under that. And to the right of that, there's a little, it tells you what kind of page it is, whether it's a folder page or home page, or maybe it's a page that links to another site. So, example, these are URL pages that link out to different places. And there's just different kinds of pages, and it shows you at a glance what kind of page that is. So to create new pages, you simply click the New Page button at the top and add a page. And there's lots of different types of pages, and mine is taking a minute. There we go. So we have lots of different types of pages. We can add blank pages, which is what you're going to do most often. You can add a page URL, which we saw there a second ago, and that is a page that links out to another website. So if you're going to create a page in your navigation that links out to, let's say, PowerSchool, you're going to add a page URL and add the PowerSchool URL in there, and it'll jump right out to that. The last kind of page that you'll create is what we call a folder page. It's kind of a top-level page, and that's actually what these are on the left. And a folder page is really just kind of a placeholder. It's not a page you can click on, but it's a page that has other pages underneath it. So for example, schools, in this case, our schools, it's an example of a folder page. If I click it, it doesn't really do anything. There's nothing to see there. It's a placeholder for all of these other pages underneath it. So quite often that's used for things like departments, if there's nothing under departments. I'm sorry, if there's other pages under departments, but departments itself has not anything to click on, then it doesn't really do anything, and you would have other pages underneath that. So let's go add a page real quick, and I'll just show you how to do that. We'll click on add a page. Again, this is not going to be this slow for you guys. This is just my connection here. If I click on blank page, all I have to do is give my page a title, my new page, for example, and click add, and we'll see it appear on the left-hand side. Oh my goodness. It's usually instantaneous. There's no delay whatsoever generally, but there's a little issue on my end. So I add this new blank page, and of course it is a blank page. So on the right, it is just a blank slate that will magically appear in a second. There we go. So there's my new blank page. So from here, I'm ready to get started and ready to start adding stuff to my new blank page. And we'll talk about that in this afternoon's class when we start adding rows and columns and even sections and all kind of fun stuff to your page. But that's really all there is to it, to adding a new page. As I mentioned earlier, if you want to move that page around somewhere, just drag it up, put it wherever you want. Or if you want to make it a child page, just drag it to the right of wherever it should be under, and now it's underneath wherever you put it. So real simple to manage that kind of stuff. Now also in the new pages, one thing I didn't talk about was the templated pages that we have. We now have the ability to create beautiful templated pages with a lot of content and information already created for you. So all you have to do is change the photos, change the text to whatever you want them to be, and now it's your own little page. So if you want to create let's say an About Us page, click on About Us, and you can keep the same names and call it About Us or call it about, our school or whatever you want to call it, and add the page. And now you're going to have a beautiful new page that has photos and information in it already. Everything you need already in there. And all you have to do is come in and change it. Change the photo, for example. You want to change it from those guys. Maybe you want to change it to something on like a bus, for example. I have never seen it go this slow, so I apologize. So let's say bus. There's about 25,000 photos added to your system that you can use now. So they're all free, royalty free, and just add whatever you want. And goodness, all you have to do is type something. So in this case, I just said bus, and there's my bus. So at that point, you just simply start changing the content. This is my About Us page. Whatever you want to do. And of course, this great new system allows you to move things up and down and shuffle things any way you want. Treat it pretty much like you would PowerPoint, in the sense that you just click on whatever you want and change it and make stuff in it, big or small or whatever you want, and just move it around. So there's a lot more flexibility. It's extremely easy to manage content. This is the stuff we'll talk about in this afternoon's class, but really easy to manage content on your page by just clicking on it and adding some new text. Look at here and change this to whatever you want. So super easy to just come in and change things just by clicking on it and waiting for it to load. And let's say students. Let's go grab some kids. There we go. Put some kids in there. So here's an example. Now we've got a page that we're building, and from a template, quickly and easily, just change the photos, change the text, and it's all yours. So really nice, easy to do. So I've pretty much beat all the pages to death here. That's all the stuff you can do about pages. I'm going to move this under another one so our nav isn't messed up. There we go. And there we go. So I've moved some things around. So let's go down a little further down on the left-hand side. The next item under the left-hand side is your widgets. We used to call them modules. Now we call them widgets. It's a whole new system, a whole new name, a whole new company. So we're starting with some new terminology as well. And instead of modules, we now call them widgets. They're just whatever you want to do. You want some text or images or sliders or links or calendars or icons and buttons and forms, you name it. Everything is here. And you simply drag it out to the page to put whatever you want out there. So if you want to add some text to this page, you grab the text icon and drag it out to where you want it. There's your text. and start adding some new text to the page. Because it's kind of like PowerPoint, we can make it bold, we can underline, italics, do lots of different colors, we can lots of different sizes. We can use lots of different fonts now. We had requests for years for different fonts. We now have a ton of different fonts, and we use the entire Google font library. So you want some different fonts, you got it. It's in there. So everything's there. You can change the weight of the text, the alignment of the text, and line height. You can link to all kinds of stuff real quickly and easily. And this is something we'll cover in this afternoon's class. But the linking function is really powerful now in that you can link real quick and easy to any page in your website, any third-party URL. You can link to pop-ups that we can create in the website, so we can create lots of different pop-ups. You can do anchor links, which take you to specific pages or places on a page. You can even link directly to store items in your school store, to email addresses, even a click to call, so if you want people to click and call it, as well as linking to documents in your site. So that's all the stuff we're going to cover later on this morning. I'm sorry, later on this afternoon. So we can link to all kinds of stuff. We can also do buttons and bullets, numbers and bullets. And of course, you've got the almighty undo and redo button, which is really nice to have. So really, again, you can do a lot of stuff with this. Treat it kind of like you would PowerPoint. Right-click on things and align stuff. Really, really simple. And of course, drag and drop lets you move things around any way you want. So you can put stuff at the bottom, put stuff at the top, move things around as you see fit. Just real quick and easy. And you see that the page doesn't have to reload. Even though I'm on a terrible connection, everything reloads instantly. So it's really, really simple to do. I've done something here. All right. So let's keep on going. So down on the left-hand side after our widgets, again, to add widgets to the page, just grab one, drag it out to the page, and it's there. Now, there's also another way to add widgets to your page, and that is by right-click on any blank spot. And this is the way I like to do it, but it's totally up to you. You can right-click on any blank spot and go to Add, and hello, right-click and Add, and you can add any widget below. So you can add text or images or buttons or icons or even more widgets. Whatever it is you want to add, there's all the same widgets that we just showed on the left-hand side. So if you're going to add an image, you just select your image and add it to the page. So it's really the same kind of thing as we did from the left-hand side. We can drag it and make it smaller or just get rid of it. But you can right-click and add widgets, or you can go to the left-hand side and add a widget and just drag it out to the page. Below the widgets is your content management. So this is where we can add all kinds of files and photos to your website. So you'll click on content, and we're going to ignore all of these other options for now and just go right down to your website content. That's your content manager, where all of the files and images are for you. So you can manage images, and you can add as many photos as you want in here. All the photos are automatically optimized and compressed for the web as you upload them. So you're not going to have that problem anymore where you can upload a 20 meg file and it just kills your page. Don't worry about it. There are no size limits anymore. So you just upload whatever you want and it will optimize it automatically for you. So you don't have to worry about it. You can create as many folders and photo folders as you want, subfolders, subfolders. I think you can go 4 folders deep when you're organizing your photos. So you can put those in any order you want. Drag and drop directly from your desktop. If you click Manage Images, you can add additional folders here and drag and drop folder order. So it's really, really easy to manage your content now and put your folders wherever you want them. Also, there's a file manager that allows you to manage your files. And this is a little bit different than what you've seen in the past. And at first glance, people look at it and they go, oh my gosh, I can't do folders anymore for my files. It doesn't really matter because all of your files are going to be in one single giant folder, but you can search them by just simply typing the name. So if I want to find something that says ABC, for example, just type ABC at the top, and there's my ABC file. So at first glance, it sounds like it's going to be a challenge, but it's surprisingly easy to find all your files by just typing in any part of the file name, and you'll instantly find that. So it just lumps all your files into one location real quick and easy, and you'll find that everything's there and easy to access. Now, if you're coming from a school desk website, we've already moved all your files and photos for you from your old website over to here. So under images will be all of your old images, and under files will be all of your old files in one place. So it's nice to just know that all of your stuff has already been moved over for you and everything's there for you. A little further down on the left-hand side, we've got a personalization option. And this is really cool, and this is where you're going to have to come play or watch one of my other videos that hopefully will be out by Friday. And basically, this allows you to create lots of different personalized messages and pop-ups based on user actions. So whether they're on a mobile device or a specific date or time or even location, whatever it is you want to do, you can show them different information based on different criteria. So for example, if you want to put up a notification bar about schools closing, you can select that and create a date and a message, select the date and time, maybe you want to show it now, and pop up a message that says maybe schools closed today due to inclement weather, whatever the case is. So there's a lot you can do with the personalization. We don't have time to cover that today in this training class. There's a lot to it. I highly recommend you just come in here and play around with some of these really cool features that you can play with. There's a lot that you can do. Now, also, as I also mentioned, there's a store built into your website, and it's a full-blown e-commerce platform where you guys can now sell any kind of item that your school is selling. Maybe it's a fundraiser for band or for, I don't know, any kind of group in your school. You can create a full-blown store and sell any of those items. It's very easy. Now, your initial setup, we'll walk you through that if you need help with it, or you can just click on your store icon and go through the process here. I haven't set this one up yet, but it's got some basic items in there already. But we can go back in and see the store, and you can go ahead and add a store to your website as you if you see a need for it. But we've had a lot of schools request a store function, and this really meets the needs. It's extremely easy to set up. Just go through all the different steps and start adding your products to it. So it's really, really cool. There's no additional cost for it. There's also a blog function. And so our blog is really powerful and really easy now. In the past, our old blog module was garbage. It was horrible. It's just impossible to work with. And a lot of people wanted to blog. Well, now it's super, super easy, and you can create a blog post. You can change the layout. You can add, we can add lots of different stuff to your blog. If you want to edit anything, it's really, really simple to do. Just click on the blog icon on the left and publish items as you see fit. You can duplicate them. You can delete them. You can preview them. You can do lots of different things with your blog items. So it's really, really easy to manage your blog. Lots of different settings and stuff in here to play with. So come back in here and play around. If you've ever thought about doing a blog, or maybe your principal or superintendent or somebody else wants to do a blog, it's now really, really easy to do. You can have multiple blogs per site. You might have multiple editors, so maybe a principal and a superintendent on the same site, or multiple department heads. Whatever you want to do, you can have multiple authors to your blog, adding lots of content to it. So it's really, really simple to do that. So your blog is a really awesome, new, powerful tool that you can do a lot with. And my connection works. There we go. So the very last thing on the left-hand side is your settings options. And in the past, the settings area was a dangerous place to be. You can mess up all kinds of stuff. Now it's not the case. Now it's actually functional and useful, and we encourage you to take a look around in here. You're not going to break it. You can't mess anything up, but there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do in here. So when we click on settings, first thing is your site icons. So that little icon at the top left of your tab, you can change that yourself now. It can be whatever you want it to be. It's called a favicon. And To add that, you just simply click on the image here and upload it whatever you want it to be. In fact, we generally use our little campus contact one. Click that and you're done. Click done. And now you can see that my new favorite icon, when I publish it, is going to be our campus contact logo. Now you can also add images that are going to be seen by social networks when they see your website, as well as what's going to be seen on the home screen of tablets and mobile phones when they see your website as an app, which is something we're going to get to in just a second. We call it the Progressive Web App, and it allows you to convert your entire website to an app for people to use on their devices. So we'll show you that in just a second. But you can create whatever icon they're going to see on their desktop and access the website from there. So that's pretty neat. On the left-hand side, we can manage the site URL. Now, some of you may not have access to the site URL. It's generally for the top-level administrators. If you don't see it, don't worry about it. Somebody else is managing that for you. But we can change the URL to be whatever you want it to be, so it doesn't just have to be our campus contact URL. Like some of the old school desk URLs, that day is gone. It doesn't have to be like that anymore. It can now be literally whatever you want it to be as far as the URL. So that's nice. Also, the SSL certificate. We've now really ramped up security, and so you'll see several different procedural changes as well along the way. But one of them is that we've added SSL to every site by default. So this is something that we manage for you. You don't have to go out and purchase an SSL certificate. We do it for you, and we add it to your site, and we manage it for you. So it's just nice to know that it's going to be there for you, and there's nothing else you need to do. But we will add the SSL for you. For SEO, search engine optimization, I really, really highly encourage, if not beg and plead, you to go one time to your site settings, click on SEO, and then click on site title and description. And it's going to be really important to do this at least one time, because this is what Google's going to see for your entire website. Now, as I showed you earlier, we can do SEO at the page level. If you don't want to mess with it at the page level, that's fine. You don't have to do that. It's good and it's helpful, and yeah, there's some advantages. However, at least take the time to come one time to your settings and do the site SEO. And this is the overall site SEO for your website. So I really, really urge you to come do this one time. Your website title would be, I don't know, in this case it's George County Schools. And this is our school description, whatever that may be. So definitely come in here and add that at least one time. If you're not going to do it on every page, at least do it one time, and you're good to go. Again, there is even a link to go jump right over to your pages, and you can do it at the page level as well by adding it there. But if you're not going to take the time to do that at the page level, like I said, at least take a few minutes, even 30 seconds, to come over here and do this at the site level overall. As I mentioned earlier, we have Google Analytics type functionality already built into the system, so you don't really need Google anymore, but it's there. And if you want to use Google Analytics, just simply copy and paste the code that they gave you into here, and it will start pulling your content, or actually your traffic and information, directly into Google Analytics. Keep in mind that it does take 24 hours before it starts to show any content. Google's always running 24 hours behind. Ours is more live, so we can actually see what's going on today. But just know that it will take a little while for Google to catch up and start showing you some results on your website. We can do URL redirects, and this is something that we'll do for you again as well, that basically allows us to redirect your old URL from School Desk or wherever you're coming from to your new website. So we manage that for you. If you're going to do any kind of special HTML in your website, for example, this one has some stuff for scrolling text, you can do that in your header HTML. There's also backups, and this is a really big piece of the new system that is just a huge leap forward for us, and that is it allows you to restore your website from any previous version. So in this case, you'll see that every time you hit the republish button, it will take another snapshot of your website so that you can roll it back to that previous version. Apparently, I already did it this morning at 9:39, so I can hit restore and roll back to the previous version. In fact, actually, I think that was a totally different design. So let's go back and do it. See what that looked like. What in the world was I doing this morning at 9:39? But it's nice to be able to know that if you mess up your site, if you just totally blow it up and break something, you can hit the restore button and roll it back to any previous version in just a couple of seconds here and roll it back. So I'm not sure what the difference was in my case, but whatever. Oh, actually, now I've messed up and lost my icon. So actually, I can roll it back and get that back here. So you can access the site backups and roll it back anytime. See, I just did mine at 10:50, so I want to go back and get that one instead. And that'll fix anything that I've deleted just now and put everything back the way it should be. So now if I go to my settings, when it reloads, we'll have there's my icon, and all my changes are back now because I rolled it back to the way I've done it for this class. So the backup site is a really powerful tool. You see it keeps track of a lot of different versions, and I can roll back to any version all the way back to at this point back in May. So it's going to keep track of all of that information for you. And at a glance, and just a couple clicks, a single click really, you can roll it back to any previous version that you need to. So another piece that we have built in is the site language, but this is no longer used at this level because we have Google Translate available for you now, so you won't really need the site language tools. We do have some privacy options. And everybody's been to a website where you see that cookie notification, that GDPR thing at the very bottom of your website, that little bar across the bottom. Well, we don't really need that here in America. It's more of a European thing, and it's just kind of a nuisance because everybody's seen it and ignores it. But just know that it's there, and you can turn that on. One thing we've seen people using the cookie notification for is for school alerts. Instead of using it for cookie notifications, you can turn it on for alert messages, which I thought was kind of a clever use of it. So now if you're, I didn't republish it. But if you republish your website, you can use that, what normally would be your cookie notification for a website notification, for an alert of whatever kind. So in this case, when my page reloads, you'll see, there we go. Now we have school is closed today due to horrible weather. We can color that. We can do whatever we want with it. We can make lots of changes to it. But just quick and easy shows you that, school is closed. So this particular design is not the best for that, but that's okay. But at least you can see that you can do a lot with it with the privacy settings. Now, if your school requires a privacy page for legal reasons, you can create and manage your own privacy page. You can just turn it on, and you can even customize it. There's a long, detailed boilerplate privacy policy here that you can come in and change as you see fit. Or if you want to get rid of all of it and just replace it with whatever language your school uses, you can do that as well. And it can be your privacy page that you can add a link to in your footer or wherever you want to create your own privacy page. So I know a lot of schools use this for their internet policies or for their equal opportunity statements or whatever else you want to add. You can add all kinds of different information here and have all that information posted on your website. That's under settings, under privacy settings, and there's your privacy URL, which you can of course change as well. I'm going to turn it back off and deactivate it, as well as my cookies. I'm going to turn that off as well. So last is, well, nope, not last, next to last is your 404 page. And in case you've not seen a 404 page, it's kind of an error page that lets you know that a link has been removed from your site or it's no longer available. So, and you can customize this as well. So if you want to see how it looks, we can click on it. And here's your standard 404 page that you can modify as you see fit. And if you've never done it, go to Google and type in 404 page. And you'll see there's tons, well, yeah, you type it right. Zillion different options for you to see what other people are doing out there with 404 pages. And it's kind of fun. You can make it useful. It doesn't have to be a, just a big ugly error. You can do a lot of really cool things with it. But essentially, if you, let's say on your site, you had a quick link to some other page in your site or to some other URL, and then later on you removed that. Well, if somebody else had a link to that page and now it's gone, you don't want it to just be a server error or just completely broken link. So instead of a broken link, it will route you back to a 404 page, which is where all broken links go, and it brings them back over here and says, oh, sorry, that's no longer there. And it's just a more useful way to help your users instead of showing them a broken link. Actually, it just shows a 404 page. So it's just kind of a helpful error, if anything, which you can modify. Last in the list is the progressive web app. And this will be off by default on your website, but you can turn this on if you need to. Just go to settings, go to the very bottom, click on progressive web app, and you can turn this on. But essentially what it's going to do is allow users of your website to download your entire website into an app that can then be on their tablet or their mobile phone, and it's a much, much faster method of loading. In fact, I wish that's what I was doing on my desktop here, because you wouldn't see all the delays, because all the content is already downloaded and there, and all they have to do is click it. And literally as fast as they can click, they're going to be seeing all your website content. There's no delay, there's no download, there's no nothing to slow them down. All they have to do is click it and they can browse through your website. And as you're updating your website, and every time you hit republish, it's going to push out to that app so that the app that they've downloaded and installed on their device is always up to date and has the latest content. So even if they're travel outside of an area that they don't even have service anymore, that app will be available because it's installed on their device. So it's pretty neat. So essentially you're converting your entire website to an app, and that app will be launched with whatever icon you decide to upload to your site, and they can access the whole thing. So it's really neat that you can make your entire website now into an app on other devices. So that is pretty much the bulk of everything in our new system as far as where it all is and how to get to it all. Keep in mind all of the help information at the top. If you can't find what you're looking for, go to campuscontact.com and click on the little chat bubble on the bottom left, or click on the support button at the top right, and hopefully yours will go much, much faster than mine. And on a support page, you'll be able to, again, ask us questions, search for whatever you need, submit trouble tickets, watch any videos that you need, or like I said earlier, just click on the little live chat. And we're here for you Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m., and can help you out every step of the way. So at 4 o'clock, we're going to get back together and do a more detailed, in-depth version of training where we're going to add columns and pages and widgets and do a lot more styling and a lot of really other cool things. And I'm going to be on a different connection, so we're not going to have all this delay. So I appreciate your patience on all of this. I welcome you to go in and play in your website, maybe create your own test page, add a bunch of widgets to it, just see what they do, move things around and start playing. You can't mess it up, you can't hurt it, you can't break it, and if you do something you don't like, you have the undo options or even the full backup option where you can restore from any previous version. So go in there and beat it up, play with it, do whatever you want, add things to it, and don't be afraid that you can hurt it, because you really, really can't. And if you mess it up, like I said, we can just roll it back to any previous version. So that's pretty much it for the high-level overview class, and we'll be back at 4 o'clock this afternoon to do a more detailed class on how to manage content and pages and a lot of other really fun stuff, and we'll really get into the meat and potatoes of it from there. But if you need any other questions or answered, or if you need help, go to campuscontact.com/support or click on our live chat, and we're here for you. Thank you very much, and this will be posted also under the full training classes within probably the next 20-30 minutes, so you'll see that it'll be available by clicking on full classes. Thank you very much, and we'll see you soon at the next class.
Thank you.
Thank you.